This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. Oil prices fell about 1% lower on Friday, posting to their steepest weekly losses in months, on worries that travel restrictions to curb the spread of the Delta variant of COVID-19 will derail the global recovery in energy demand. Crude futures also came under pressure as the dollar strengthened after monthly U.S. job growth came in higher than expected. A stronger dollar makes greenback-denominated oil more expensive for buyers in other currencies. Brent crude oil futures settled down 59 cents, or 0.8%, at $70.70, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate, WTI, crude futures fell 81, or 1.2%, to settle at $68.28 a barrel.
China's fuel demand is on track to hit record highs this year on a rebound in car sales and booming domestic air travel, even as a resurgence of COVID cases slows movement in some cities in the near term, analysts say. Despite slowing growth for diesel, the main industrial fuel, overall consumption of gasoline, diesel and aviation fuel in the world's top crude oil importer is expected to grow by 7% to 11% in 2021 to a record between 8.4 million and 8.9 million barrels per day. Analysts at consultancy SIA Energy, IHS Market and Energy Aspects estimated. By comparison, the International Energy Agency, IEA, in March forecast China's demand for gasoline, jet fuel and diesel would rise by 6.5% to 8.2 million barrels of oil per day in 2021.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
The Texas power grid operator on Friday forecast demand next week would reach its highest so far this year as homes and businesses crank up air conditioners to bring relief during another heat wave. The United States has been beset by several extreme weather events this year, including February's freeze in Texas that knocked out power to millions and record heat this summer in the Pacific Northwest. High temperatures in Dallas were expected to reach the upper 90s Fahrenheit, 35 Celsius, every day from August 7 to 17, according to AccuWeather. The city's normal high is 97 F at this time of year.
Mining companies say they do not fear a plan by China's CATL to make an electric vehicle, EV, battery without lithium or other key metals because the new design will have a limited range and more powerful rival battery technologies will gobble up minerals supply in coming years. The industry's confidence is born from the rapid rise of the battery to power not only transportation, but myriad other parts of the global economy, an evolution that many industry analysts expect to require a massive expansion of mining. The number of global EVs, for instance, is expected to jump more than 14 times to 145 million by 2030, according to the International Energy Agency, IEA. At the same time, utilities are building out massive fleets of batteries to store electricity.
Next, we have the top news in metal markets.
Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Friday that Russia will raise a mineral extraction tax, MET, on metals producers in 2022. The idea to withdraw excess profits from mining firms was introduced by Deputy Finance Minister Alexei Sazonov last month, but he said the government had not yet made any decision at that point. Starting from the next year, from January 1st I think, new higher taxes on mineral extraction will be imposed. This concerns the metals industry, said Putin at a meeting with construction workers.
Copper prices fell on Friday as solid U.S. jobs data pushed the dollar sharply higher, making metals more expensive for buyers with other currencies. Copper had been trading higher after news that a union at the world's biggest copper mine, Chile's Escondida, told workers to prepare for a strike that would reduce supply. But by 16:05 GMT, benchmark copper on the London Metal Exchange was down 0.2% at $9,472.50 a ton. It was down more than 2.5% this week amid concerns that demand in top consumer China will weaken. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. Japan's Osaka Dojima Commodity Exchange will end trading in rice futures, it said on Friday, nearly 300 years after they began trading as the first product on the world's oldest futures exchange. The last futures will trade in June 2022 when all outstanding rice contracts will have expired, ending trade that began in 1730, after samurai petitioned the Tokugawa shogunate to authorize trade in rice futures at the Dojima Exchange, as it was called then. The move came after the Agriculture Ministry rejected an application to re-license the rice futures because of low volumes, said the head of the exchange, which is generally considered to be the world's oldest organized futures bourse.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.